संझाण उदवाड़ा स्मृति जरथोष्ट्र आतश संस्कृति उपराट तीर्थल आहवा और डांग डुम्मस वेड़ छी
समस्त रिधि कृषि मूलम धन धान्य औषधि संपन्नम।
मुंशी मिठू मोरार जी दादा रतन कल्याण जी टंडेल डांगी खारवा हलपति अनाविल पारसी
समस्त रिधि कृषि मूलम धन धान्य औषधि संपन्नम।
दांडी नमक सत्याग्रही गांधी गिरा गरुड़ेश्वरी दांडी नमक सत्याग्रही गांधी गिरा गरुड़ेश्वरी सरदार सरोवर नर्मदा सरदार सरोवर नर्मदा है कंकरा सब शंकरा है कंकरा सब शंकरा
हे समस्त रिधि कृषि मूलम धन धान्य औषधि संपन्नम। धन धान्य औषधि संपन्नम। धन धान्य औषधि संपन्नम।
Hello, 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 hello,
You are now unmuted.
So, good afternoon, all. I welcome all the participants as well as the today's speaker, Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad, sir, myself, Dr. Lalit Modi, along with Dr. Deepak Suthar, Organizing Secretary of this NA Webinar Series 2020. I again welcome to all the participants as well as the speaker in this 19th WET NI webinar. Good afternoon. So, our today's speaker is Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad, sir. I would like to just brief about Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad, sir. Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad graduated from Maharashtra Animal and Fishes Science University, Nagpur in the year 2002. And after completing the BVSC and AH, he joined a master degree in the subject of animal reproduction, gynecology and obstetrics and completed the master degree from the same university and also completed his PhD in same discipline from the same university, Maharashtra Animal and Fisheries Science University, Nagpur with first. Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad presently working as assistant professor in Department of ARGO, Bombay Veterinary College, APSU, Mumbai, and he have almost 12 years of experience in research, teaching as well as extension. Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad published various research paper in national and international journals. I think it will be more than 20 research paper was published by Dr. Sandeep. And area of interest of Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad is female infertility, ultrasonography, Doppler ultrasonography in large and small animals. And he has a very vast knowledge of infertility, especially in canines. So I welcome Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad, sir, and I request Dr. Gaikwad, sir, to please start the webinar. Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad, sir, please.
Hello, may I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yes. Okay. So, good afternoon to all. I welcome all the participants. I would like to thank Honorable Vice Chancellor NU Navsari for giving me this platform to interact with you all people. I would also like to thank the Dean Directors of the university. Personally, specifically, I would like to thank the organizer of this webinar series. I think it is the 19th webinar today. So I would like to Dr. Sutar, my friend Dr. Lalit Modi, because they have given me this prestigious opportunity to interact with you people. So the topic, sir, can you present as it is?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. So the topic is given to me is infertility in canines. Friends, yes, pet industry. Now it is very, we can say, well known. Everybody has heard this word, pet industry. And over the past decade, if you look at this, so particularly the economics of this India, the ownership of the dog and cats and other pets, they have increased in multifold. And going to this, the rising income, specifically the disposable income, majorly in the middle class in the packets, rapid urbanization and rising the nuclear fallacy. So here, and further, what happens is that changing attitude of the people towards the pet, like this humanization of pet and treating them as a, we can say, the part of family. So this has raised to the doubling of this ownership of the dog. And so this ownership of the dog is increased. So, and again, the shows and championships, they have trained many peoples to raise, to own the different breeds of the dogs which are having the champion histories. And in scenario, the gynecologist or therogenologist, they are often called by this client and or some of the referring veterinarians to assist the fertility in bitches, fertility in canines, which have failed to produce the litter. Now, when clinically, when we are approached in this particular dilemma in candid, is quite different. If you compare with this other species, it is quite different for because of first and most important thing is that in case of this canines, inability of this reproductive tract, because just like the other species, we cannot easily access the female reproductive system or the male reproductive system like in the large animals. So it makes quite challenging for these practitioners or therogenologists also to gain the diagnostic information regarding this fertility or infertility, which make us or which is useful for treating these cases. So in such a scenario, palpation and ultrasonography, they have become a wonderful tools. But unless there is some considerable pathological changes that took place in the reproductive, or examiner or the doctor or veterinarian or therogenologist, he should be quite experienced in scanning the female reproductive tract. And if these are the things, then these findings may be some up to some of the conclusive remarks, or and so these infertility conditions or this infertility why the owners, because these are some of the seasonal or some beaches or some canines, they show the Easter cycles yearly or some 2 twice in a year. So if we miss this opportunity, so we need to wait for another 5 to 6 10 months to attempt for the another breeding. So it causes some frustration for the owners or for the veterinarians also. So we need to look into this aspect to not to miss the opportunity in any case. So when if we look at to the fertility in canines, just like this other species, the common pattern for this fertility requirement of canine is the basic thing it requires. Yes, the patent and the healthy reproductive tract or reproductive system. Yes, it is there or it should be there. Unless and until it is healthy, we can't expect normal cycle and the pregnancy from that particular canines or that particular breed. Then when this it is the healthy and patent reproductive tract is there, yes, there should be ovulation of this normal oocyte. Now these are the litter bearing species, and ovulation of the normal ova, it is a basic requirement for successful fertilization, successful conception, and the pregnancy what we need. Of course, we are thinking from the female side only, but here normal semen. Here we are most of the times we consider male is a proven sire. Male is a proven sire with the normal semen. And yes, of course, even after that, everything, all three factors like patent and healthy reproductive system, ovulation of this normal ova with the fertile or proven male, pregnancy. Yes, after all these events, the beach or that canine, she should carry the conceptus, or she should carry the fetus to the end of this pregnancy. That means she can deliver a calf after the completion of the gestation. Now, before going to this particularly, because the organizers told me, yes, the audience are most of these field veterinarians and these postgraduate students, yes. So I would make just some review upon this reproductive cycles, and then we can shift to this, what are the problems which related to the fertility or infertility, and how we can overcome with this. So everybody knows this reproductive cycle in event, just like in other places, there is a very difference in each and every stage of this estrus cycle. Just like if you look at to this proestrus, estrus, diestrus, and unestrus. Proestrus is about 9 days. Duration is very much prolonged. Just this is just for comparison with the other species. Estrus is also 9 days. Diestrus is near about 100 days, and after that, if the animal is pregnant, yes, it is goes in pregnancy, and the other events are there. And if not, pregnancy is not there, then after the diestrus, it is goes in unestrus near about 4.5 months or 5 months, and then again it will become cyclic. So that so this is generally structural events or that are takes place in the reproductive cycle. Now, when we look at to this reproductive cycle, yes, there is a difference in stages of this estrus or stages of this estrus cycle. Likewise, if we look at, because the change in the patterns or the change in the stages of estrus cycle, yes, for every reproductive events that should happen, or that has to be happen, is it should be under control or influence of these hormones. So the hormonal profiles, if we look at to the hormonal profiles, and just basically three things: estrogen, progesterone, and luteinizing hormone, because FSH and LH. So estrogen, if you look at to the unestrus phase, okay, it is rising or just in between the 5 to 15 picograms per ml of this serum. So blood concentration of this estrogen during anesthesia, it is nearer towards baseline, and it is going to increase when it enters into nearer to the end of the estrus or nearer to the proestrus. And if you look at to the proestrus, now it is the stage during this period in the proestrus phase, the estrogen is reaching towards near about 25 picogram. So this is because of the whatever the estrogen secreted by the developing follicles, and in estrus again the increasing concentration is towards 60 to 70 picogram per ml during the estrus. So this estrogen, and again after the estrus, it is going to decline, or it comes to the basal level till next proestrus comes, it is going to be rise. Okay, so this estrogen, and simultaneously, if you look at to this progesterone or this LH, specifically the LH hormone. So this LH again during this unestrus, the pulses are very much less, and these pulses are increasing towards the proestrus, and it is specifically higher, what we call it as the LH surge during the estrus. If you look at to this different or the concentration of this LH during the proestrus, it is near about 2 to 25 milligram, and which reaches up to 50 mg, 50 milligram, which what we call it as the LH surge. And during this, again, if you look at to this progesterone is again during this unestrus, it is less than 1 nanogram per ml, which is going to be increased towards the proestrus up to 0.8, and during estrus or particularly during the LH surge, where we call generally allows or advise the breeding, it is more in your rates or commonly rates during 4 to 10 nanogram per ml, and after that during diestrus it is increasing up to 90 nanogram, whether female or that beach conceives or not. The thing, yes. Now, if you look at to the structure reproduction in case of this canines, okay, the basic difference whether is beach or this canines is similar with this other mammals. No, yes, the most of these animals, they at the time of ovulation, okay, in particularly in case of these animals, it is in the secondary division at the time of this. Rather, in case of this beach or canines, okay, at the time of ovulation, the oocyte, it is in the primary cell division. So here, this is the basic difference in the canines and the other species we take into consideration while we are thinking of treating, we are thinking of investigating the infertility or fertility cases in case of this canines. So here we need to take into consideration the stage of developmental stage of the oocyte at the time of ovulation, and accordingly we have to plan. Second most aspect or second most difference in canines and in all mammals is that in case of these other mammals, progesterone is, yes, of course, in both of these species it is secreted by the corpus luteum, but in the mammals, other mammals, the secretion of this progesterone only takes place most of the times after the ovulation, when there is formation of this corpus luteum from the ruptured follicle. But here in case of the beach, when in previous we have seen the increasing concentration of this progesterone in the estrous phase of this estrous cycle. So this is because of the luteinization of the developing follicle, little follicles. Some of the follicle, they undergo the luteinization and they start secreting the progesterone. So this basic difference in case of this canines is the progesterone secretion is initiate, is or concentration of progesterone increasing before the ovulation, and which is what we generally use the indication for or the stage for the breeding for that particular animal. Now, what happens actually during the estrus in case of this canines? Because yes, here the duration of estrus is longer, just like in case cow and buffalo it is 24 hours, and we know the different rules for the ovulation and this how this fertilization takes place, or what is the fertile period of this oocyte. But here the thing we should take into consideration is that when LH surge is there, yes, after it requires near about 48 hours up for the ovulation. In case of canines, the process of ovulation, it goes near about for 4 days. Okay, means if LH surge is there after the maximum concentration of this estrogen, LH surge is there, then this LH surge, and LH surge after that, it requires 48 hours for the ovulation. And during this ovulation process, yes, just we have seen the oocyte which are released, they are in the primary cell division. Means at this stage, these oocyte, they are not capable of fertilization like in other species, because in other species they are released in secondary cell division, so they are ready for the fertilization. But here, since they are released in primary cell, they need to mature, they need to further development. And after that, when they need to, and see, period of ovulation, it prolongs near about 4 to 5 days. So during this period, whatever the oocyte they are released, they are in the primary cell division, they requires one average of 48 hours for their maturation. Average of 14 hours for their maturation, means one more 2 days when they become capable of fertilization. Means we should take into consideration this period also while we are making we are trying to breed the animals. When we are treating the different infertility conditions, we should take into consideration these aspects also, and for whatever the breeding method we are planning, whether it is a natural or the artificial insemination. So it requires the average next 48 hours for the maturation. And once the oocyte they are get matured, they survive only for 24 hours. So we have in hand this fertile life or fertile period of this much days, 3 to 4 days. But interestingly, if you look at to the male side, in this case, the spermatozoa can remain viable, can remain fertilizable up to 4 to 5 days. So we have to plan the breeding between these days so as to target, because whenever we are planning the things for the maintenance of this fertility and breeding management, the basic aim, basic principle, basic purpose behind that is we have to make the presence of the spermatozoa when the fertilizable oocytes they are present in the reproductive tract. This is, and here we have to synchronize, these two events, that is presence of the spermatozoa in the reproductive system and maturation of this oocyte. Except, see, this is totally different, because in large animals we are planning for synchronization of ovulation and insemination. Here we are not planning for this ovulation, but we are planning for maturation, or at the stage at which the ova or oocyte they become fertilizable in capacity. So this was all about this, and so this is the estrus cycle and estrus and the chances of this fertilization. And in case, on the contrary, if the animal is infertile, so this basically, if we classify this infertility in case of this canines, so there may be one of these 4 events. We can just classify it into that. It may be because of this abnormal estrus cycle. Sometimes it may be of the normal estrus cycle. It may be of conception failure, and if it is not, then some canines, if you find the all these events, that means it becomes pregnant, but they failure to carry the litter off at the end. Okay, and it some here, some we can see some in some cases during particularly during 40 to 50 days of the gestation. Okay, some canines may show the symptoms or signs of this threatened abortion. So we will also discuss that threatened abortion, how we can manage those things. Apart from these events, or apart from these causes, there are also these infectious causes for this canine infertility. Specifically, what we are all aware, that is brucellosis, Brucella canis. But most of the times when we are pre-screening of this fertility, or preparation of, or pre-screening of the beach for the fertility, we most of the times we always advise the owner or the breeder to check the animal or screen for this brucellosis. It is again very simple test, a rapid plate agglutination test, so that we can very easily screen. Apart from that, canine herpes virus infection is there. Toxoplasmosis is also there, uroplasma, and some of these miscellaneous bacterial and viral infections. So this, most of the time, this bacterial viral infection, when we culture the vaginal swabs, okay, but while doing these things, we should be very much cautious, because normal habitat of this vaginal fluoride consists of streptococci, staphylococcus, pseudomonas. Okay, but so if we wrongly interpret the results and use some of these antibiotics, so it can lead to some increase in the flaring of these microorganisms while treating these cases. So if we have seen this general how the infertility is in canines, but most of the times when it comes to, because the thing is that yes, many owner or a breeder, or in general we can say that canine reproduction is easy, we can take a large number of litter, but when it comes to actual the timing of breeding, yes it is difficult. And at this stage, yes, we need the expert person, the therogenologist, or rather we can say. And yes, here most of this audience, or this PG students and the field veterinarians, we will mostly just what are the routine complaints, routine etiological factors which are responsible for this infertility condition. So what should be our clinical approach? Clinically, how we can investigate the infertility in canines? So while investigating the infertility canine, first and most important thing we should keep in our mind is that most of these infertile dogs are healthy, because the things you cannot directly classify this fertile and infertile canines. Okay, but some of apparent infertile dogs are there, apparent infertile females are there. So we should think into this direction. At the when the case approaches to us, yes, we should keep in mind, not all the time a animal is sterile or infertile. Okay, we should keep in mind, yes, the most of the dogs, more than 70% cases, more than 80% cases, they are not from this specific, but they are healthy dog. Okay, so when the cases comes to us, and so we need to evaluate the case. Evaluation of that particular condition is that first and most important, clinical evaluation. So while performing this clinical evaluation, the first and most important thing is that we should conduct a detailed information. We should take a detailed history from the owner. Yes, this is very important thing, because this is the single most valuable diagnostic tool for dealing with possible canine infertility problems. If you conduct a complete history, because history taking is an art, everybody cannot conduct the history properly. So it is an art. We have to develop ourselves to conduct the history for taking the or collecting the information from the owner. And this is very important, the thing while conduct, because when you are conducting thorough history, you are reaching nearer to the diagnosis. And so while conduction or taking the history, you should take the history about the cycle, and first about the cycle. Before that, if the young age canine or beach is presented to us, this puberty, you should think of the age of that animal also. Okay, because the delayed puberty, okay, delayed puberty in case of, and this delayed puberty, if it is of the nutritional origin, delayed puberty, it is, if it is of the nutritional origin, keep in mind, in such cases or in such bitches or female canines, the future fertility is questionable. So we have to think, when the young age canines they are presented to us, we should think of this also, because if you look at to the puberty on an average 6 to 24 months, this is ideally there. But the infertility, this investigation of this infertility can be just delayed up to 24 months of the age. So in that case, but if it is the delayed more than that, in this is for the old age or after 2 years of the age. But before that, if it is like this, you think of this nutritional deficiency, and if it is the nutritional deficiency, future fertility is very questionable. So regarding, we have to conduct the history about the cycle, right from the when the date of proestrus bleeding, date of first receptivity, date of bleeding dates or breeding dates, whether natural or artificial, if it is natural or natural breeding is there, then you can think of, yes, whether actual owner they have see this tie, because it is not always advisable to you make the dog keep in the room in contact and just wait for, no. Okay, actually, because most of the time this may happen, there may not be proper copulation or the tie occurs in those cases. Then the date of refusal, male infertility, this is very important, because here again I am saying most of the times we consider it as a male is always proven. Okay, so we should take the consideration, or we should take into consideration the male fertility also. Otherwise, if the problem is with the male fertility or male, then other things, even if we are investigating and treating the case, so we can't treat such cases. So this during the history, you should take whether the male, what type of male they have used, and whether it has been screened, or investigation has been done properly or not. And this is, yes, Brucella, yes, it is very common things. We should always advise to owner for male as well as this female. Apart from this, if we should take into consideration what type of whether they have suffered from some of the signs of pseudo pregnancy, any reproductive diseases, and if it is happened, what type of the treatment specifically, if that bitch has undergone through some of these hormonal therapies, we should take into consideration accordingly what type of, or with different types of, and which type of hormones they have used. So when we conduct the history clinically, we should, and same while conducting the history, physical examination should be there. Specifically, the gyneco clinical examination. Yes, just we have discussed earlier, inaccessibility of this reproductive tract in case of these canines, it makes more this examination or investigation more challenging. But just when you just patency of the reproductive tract, just if you look at to the external genital and the canal, we can very well easily examine. And if you look at if you come across any type of this abnormality, pathology, or some of this cancerous growth or anything like this, so during this examination we can rule out this type of this different abnormalities or pathological conditions, whether it may be structural or some like this, we can rule out, we can take into consideration if it is so. Apart from this physical examination, second or third thing, we need to go for this vaginal smears. So this vaginal smears help us to just, it is nothing but we can say the hormonal assay or the reflections of this changing patterns of this hormone. So this you can go for taking the vaginal smears. You can go for the cultures if you are doubtful about some of type of this infectious. So you can go for, if it is normal, then you can think of this normal vaginal smear. Generally, what we do, and take the vaginal smears and investigate or examine for presence of different types of cells like this parabasal, intermediate, superficial, or nucleus, and depending upon that you can determine the reproductive stage or of that particular canine, and accordingly you can plan your. And apart from this, those people they are which are having ultrasound examination, they can go for directly reproductive tract examination, and they should see the structure of this reproductive tract, specifically the uterus, whether there is incidence of the spermata or some abnormal structures, cystic endometrial hyperplasia. If it is there, if the ultrasound machine is with you, nowadays everybody is having ultrasound machine with them, so you can go for this also. Then after this physical examination means what actually the thermogenologist or veterinary doctor can perform is you can go for physical examination, you have conducted history, and you go for this ultrasound examination. Apart from this, some of this to know the actual health status of that animal, so we should go for this laboratory investigation, and that starts with this CBC, complete blood count. Okay, that will give you general health status of this animal. Then you can go for this serum biochemistry, which gives or reflects the nutritional status of that animal. Yes, we have performed already. If it is there, Brucella testing, screening for this Brucella. If not, we should go for that also. Urine analysis for presence of some of this bacteria. And basically, this is again very important, because this hypothyroidism or this thyroid T3 and T4 hormones, we should go for estimation of this, because this is best where we can some of the where the animals or these canines may be turns into the infertility condition like anistus, or this mummified fetuses, or infertility condition, or these condition which leads to the conception failure like this. So this we should take into consideration these aspects also to know to back up our investigation, the laboratory investigation, or to reach to nearer to the diagnosis, to rule out some of these facts, rule out some of this etiological section. We should go for the laboratory investigation also. And after all this, when you conducted the history, you perform this physical examination, then you perform this vaginal smear, then ultrasound examination, laboratory investigation has been completed. So when you completed all these things, then you can put that particular case in one of this. So, and for to quit this or put the case in one of this, whether it is maybe a abnormal stress cycle, whether it is a normal stress cycle, whether it is a conception failure, or whether it is a failure to carry the litter. But one of these, when we need to put your case into one of these, we need to go for all these events what we have discussed, that is history, physical examination, laboratory investigation, and test. So when there is echo, sir.
You are
Yes,
now
sir. Please,
unmuted.
please wait.
Okay. So
Wait, sir. Wait, sir.
is it fine? Yeah. Okay. So when we put the case in one of this, okay, so abnormal stress cycle, if you think that yes, the abnormalities of the stress cycles are there, so the causative factor, causative reasons behind this abnormal of this stress cycle, it may be delayed puberty, just delayed puberty, it may be abnormal stress cycle. So delayed puberty, again, when it is of this nutritional origin, yes, we have discussed, it is, if it is of this original nutritional deficiency, that in such
You are
cases
now
you think
muted.
of this, whether we should go for treating such cases or not. Then is abnormal stress cycle, it is some shows, some canines or some which shows the shortened stress period, which is not normal. So when you think of, because these are the things you are going to reach by conducting the history, and depending upon that, if you come to know that stress, shortened stress period is there. Okay, so you think of this, whether it may be a uterine pathology, specifically this cystic endometrial hyperplasia, because if the uterine pathology is there, or cystic endometrial hyperplasia is there, uh, this cystic endometrial hyperplasia will cause release of this PGF2 alpha, and then the animal will turns into the again the cyclicity. So this uterine pathology, because cystic endometrial or endometrial hyperplasia is desirable when the animal is coming, or on the, if the beach is bred on the regular basis. This is desirable because it is under influence of this progesterone, and it is required for maintenance of this pregnancy, or this maintenance of this litter or the conceptus. But if it is the abnormal breeding is there, or it is not beach is not bred regularly, then this cystic endometrial hyperplasia is not always desirable. So in that case, the uterine pathological conditions, or specifically this CEH, it may cause the shortened stress interval. So you have to go for the ultrasound examination of this. And again, one more thing is that the biopsy, uterine biopsy you can done, but it is somewhat invasive method. But you can go for this ultrasound examination, and you can treat accordingly that CEH or the uterine pathology. So for the shortened stress period, one more positive factor is their split heat. Okay, so this split heat means the animal shows the estrus or stress within in two phases, first and second. Okay, so and this interval is very much less. So this interval is very much less. So in that case, they miss the behavioral changes or the characteristic like this proestrus vulvar swelling or the discharge. Okay, these are the we can attraction of these dogs means male attraction. Okay, so this is followed by these symptoms will be shown by the animals, but and this is followed by the unestrus phase of near about 4 to 8 weeks or more than that, and again exhibit the normal estrus cycle. Okay, but here when the seconds in the split heat, if you breed the animal in second heat, okay, this is ovulatory breed. So this, if the ovulatory heat is there, in that case you can breed the animal, and you can expect the pregnancy for that. But here again, to confirm the timing of breeding, you should go for The other we will discuss afterwards. And third one is the ovulation failure, shortened estrus period. Now, here what happens because of this Graafian follicle fails to ovulate, there is no development of this corpus luteum formation. And if the corpus luteum formation is not there, then of course there will be not secretion or synthesis of this progesterone. So the diestrus phase of this ovarian cycle, complete diestrus phase of this ovarian cycle is skipped, is kept. And the period of because of that, when it is skipped, the period of uterine involution is also shortened. Uterine involution is also shortened, and animal comes into the heat. But yes, here we need to for diagnosis of this ovulation failure, if you suspect that in shortened estrus interval period, you need to go for the serial progesterone concentrations, and accordingly, yes, here again, if the history tells you yes, this type of shortened estrus interval is the age of that particular bitch is less than 3 years. Less than 3 years means, in other words, we can say egg age breed. So in such cases, you don't need to go for we can say the treatment. But if it is older beach, aged beach, okay, so and if these are the situations, so you have to think for the treatment with this GnRH or the luteinizing hormone. Then if it is the prolonged interestrus interval, that means interval is increased. It may be because of the thing is that the basic problem for this, it may be silent heat, or the heat cannot be unobserved, then endocrine disease, or other words is the unestrus condition. So here in silent heat, the ovarian activity is there, but whatever the external manifestation of this thing, that means vulvar swelling or the serosanguinous discharge, or the means whatever the signs and symptoms shown by the animal, it goes unnoticed. And specifically in a long haired breed, where the bitches or they are with a mild vulvar discharge, it goes unnoticed. So here again, we should for treatment or management of such type of conditions, we need to keep that particular female in the dogs at weekly interval. And again, we have to go for assessment of this vaginal cytology at weekly interval basis, and accordingly we have to plan for that. So, and second important regarding this prolonged estrus interval, it is the endocrine disturbances or the endocrine, and among this very much is the hypothyroidism. Again, this is very much a detailed topic to discuss, but in very short, I would like to tell you, yes, because of this hypothyroidism, it may be primary, it may be secondary, or it may be tertiary. Like primary means if the abnormality of that hypothyroidism is localized or related to the thyroid gland, or it may be when we call it as secondary, when it is to the pituitary gland, or in the hypothalamus tertiary. Okay, so depending upon the nature of that particular disease or etiological factors, the treatment or clinic treatment is best. So when hypothyroidism is there, okay, so it includes when if we clinically investigate such type of the condition, generally it, because of this primary unestrus means we are discussing the prolonged interestrus periods. So here in endocrine hypothyroidism, interestrus interval is increased. Sometimes the bitch may show prolonged proestrus, or duration of decreased intensity, or it can duration of estrus cycle is also decreased, or in some cases some scientists they have reported that there may be galactorrhea. Okay, and sometimes the increased incidence of this spontaneous abortion, or the presence of this mummified fetuses, stillbirths. Okay, or some in the hypothyroidism, if the puppies are born young, okay, so they are with low body weight, so pup mortality is there in such cases. Okay, so if this situation is there, and if you come across after investigation, you come across, yes, this is the case of hypothyroidism, so you can treat with some of the supplementation of this thyroxine tablets orally. So, and if you go for this within near about 4 or 5 months, okay, the replacement ovarian cycles or the unstressed condition can be recovered. And unstress is prolonged stress in unstress. Okay, this is again a very huge topic. I will just say yes, it is because of the primary unstress, secondary unstress. Okay, and the primary and secondary, again, the reasons for that, it may be because of this previous ovarian hysterectomy. Sometimes it may be abnormalities of this sexual differentiation. Sometimes the systemic diseases are there, or sometimes progesterone ovarian cyst, luteal cyst is there. Okay, so it is it can be a separate lecture. So unstressed condition which can use a abnormalities of this stress cycle. So when the normal stress cycle is there, when in the history you come across the normal stress cycle is there. So basically here the three things are there which can leads to the infertility conditions in canines. First and most important thing is breeding management errors. So this breeding management errors, then cystic CEH, cystic endometrial hyperplasia, and here fetal resorption or the abortion, where these are the situation where the estrous cycle remains the normal, but animal fails to breed, or animal fails to conceive, or animal fails to give us the puppies. And if we think of again this, practically, if we look at to this, there is failure to breed, means the breeding of that particular female is not possible, fail. And this failure to breed is because first thing is refusal to stand for the mating. So refusal to stand for mating means it may be because of wrong time of, see, if we most of the times when we are deciding the timing of mating, okay, see, one thing we should keep in mind, there should not be forceful mating, forceful mating. And if these forceful matings are there, then yes, no, you can't expect, because all the times generally it is said that when we are deciding this breeding time, when the female accept the male, generally allow for the breeding. Okay, and if this is wrong, if the wrong time of mating, so at that time that bitch will never accept the male if it is not in the proper stress phase. Okay, so at that time they will refuse. Then behavioral problems, some bitches are dominant. Okay, so they never allow the male for mating. Or sometimes what happens, there are certain males, okay, they never try to complete the copulation. Or some type of males are there all the time, irrespective of stage of estrus, they will try to mount the female. Okay, so these are the behavioral problems, behavioral changes, and some anxiety are there. And particularly this happens, refusal to stand for mating, basically two things. One is the wrong timing of mating, and second one is the behavioral problem. Second thing, if the beach stands for mating, but some of the, because of the intromission is not possible, because of this, these are the means what we said, patent reproductive tract should be there. Okay, and this patency is disturbed or discontinued because of this persistence of this septums, or the tight vaginal stricture, or the prominence of this clitoris, or the low vestibules, hypoplasia or hyperplasia of this vulva, or any type of this growth. Okay, if these are the situation, but many of these things, among this, when you are physically examining during the previous examination, if you are seeing or observing or investigating the reproductive system, you are going to rule out these things. So no question, if you are perfectly doing your approach is clear cut and you are investigating that thing, so it will be never possible. So breeding management is common. So errors, uh, the basic things or the most important aspect in the what we can say the canine infertility is the breeding of time. So here we can think the average, it is just a trend. It is just a trend. We generally look at to the proestrus bleeding and then presence of the serosanguinous discharge, and accordingly we can plan for the bleeding just like day 9, day 11, day 30. Okay, so these are the events where we plan for this bleeding. So mistimed bleeding, because what we have seen ki, yes, the ovulation and it requires sometimes ovulation in primary division, it requires time, and again we need to focus on not only the external manifestation or whatever the symptoms like this serosanguinous discharge, because and this is we can say the predetermined breeding, day 9, day 11, day 13. Here some beaches may show the bleeding throughout the proestrus and estrus. In such cases, if you look at this, and sometimes it may be lengthened, proestrus may be lengthened. Proestrus, it is if it is more than 13 or 14 days. Okay, so you can't expect here breeding D9, day 13, 11 or 30. And this breeding management in canines, because this mistimed breeding, because the synchronization of maturation of ova, I said, synchronization of maturation of ova or fertilizing capability of oocyte and presence of this spermatozoa, this should be synchronized properly. And if we look at to this infertility condition, near about or more than 80% causes in now with the normal estrous cycle, it's because of this mistimed breeding. So here we should keep in mind, particularly in case of these canines, the timing of ovulation is always not timing of the fertilization, because of the events what we have previously discussed. So while breeding the animals, while breeding the canines, we should think of these things. The timing of the ovulation and timing of the fertilization is not always same, and because of that only we should take. So if this is the situation, so it is very important to determine the optimum timing for the breeding, because how we can reach to this, because there are a number. Should we depends upon number of days from first vulval bleeding, or should we depend upon acceptance of male, or should we depend upon vulvar bleeding intensity, or should we depend upon the vaginal sphere or the progesterone assay? And apart from this, one more important thing, the can we go for the color Doppler ultrasound examination of particularly the uterine artery? So for determining the optimum breeding site, we have to depend on this. Okay, but the question is that how to determine, how, why, what should, or if we go, shall we go for with these different aspects individually, or can we use this different aspect in combination? So in previously here, a number of days from vulval bleeding or the acceptance of male, vulval bleeding intensity, acceptance of male, yes, generally we said ki when the female accept the male, this is we should allow the breed. But this vulval bleeding or the vulval bleeding intensity or the vaginal smear alone we cannot depend upon this, any of these methods or any of these parameters for deciding or determining the proper timing of this bleeding. So we need to combine this thing. Can we combine this thing with each other accordingly? Because these are the things which reflects the hormonal changes, hormonal profile, and accordingly we can plan for the bleeding. Yes. So one of our experiment PG student, we tried these three in combination. That is, we studied for this vaginal, we investigate for this vaginal sphere, as generally routinely what we do, we go for the progesterone assay. Yes, again, this is vaginal smear and progesterone assay. This combination is very effective. Generally most of the time these people we are doing regularly for uh, deciding the optimum breeding time for this conception. But here I wish to, or I wanted to discuss or more focus on this. Yes, here in our one of this project, just what we said in the vaginal smear examination. Now I will not go into detail how to collect this swab or how to prepare the smear, what types of stains we should use. Okay, it is we all of well aware with that. So here I will like to morely make your attention to this. When we are looking at the picture of this vaginal sphere, specifically this parabasal cells and intermediate cell here, so we focus on this number of this large intermediate cell and small intermediate, specifically the superficial cells. So, and in our study, what one of our PG students he performed the study, and we studied the efficacy of this combination of these three, whether we should go for vaginal smear or this. So we studied the cornification ratio. It is as usual. We studied the cornification index, and one more thing we include in that key percentage of nuclear superficial cell. Okay, so this we studied, and surprisingly or very interestingly, so this is just what we routinely perform. uh, and I wanted to make all of your attention here. The cornification ratio, cornification index. Okay, here our purpose is to attain the maximum conception, to attain the maximum efficacy. And if we look at to this concept, cornification ratio and cornification index, okay, specifically here early stress and mid stress, where we are expecting the ovulation, where when progesterone levels it is goes above 5 nanogram per ml, especially what we got here in the mid stress phase. So here if we look at to these figures, percent of this nuclear superficial cells, okay, we found there is a significant increase. Means yes, we should depend upon this cornification ratio, cornification index, but it will gives you idea about the estrus. But here we can reach nearer to the ovulation. If you look at it, there is significant increase in percentage of nuclear cell index. So in this here nearer to the LS search. So accordingly, if we look at to this, and if you come across yes, there is significant increase, sudden increase in the percent of this nuclear cell superficial cells, you can plan for the bleeding accordingly, because this is very important. And along with that, again, we also consider this progesterone concentration. But the thing is that yes, during early stress, ovulation, and met stress, we found yes, there is significant variation or significant increase in the progesterone concentration. But if we consider these two things, because here the presence of nuclear cells, presence of maximum percentage of nuclear cells, and the concentration of this progesterone above 5 to ranging between 5 to 10, okay, that will leads, or that will gives you a clear cut idea about the LS surge, about the ovulation, and accordingly you can plan for your timing of this breeding. Yes, this is during this mid stress phase. There is significant increase in this nuclear superficial cells, and at the same time there is increase in this significant increase in this progesterone concentration. So if we combine, means vaginal smears, we are generally doing it, but instead of looking at only the cornification index or cornification ratio, in that cornification ratio again, if you look at to the nuclear cell percentage, this, so you can very well plan, you can very well manage this optimum breeding time accordingly, and you can plan for the optimum timing for this breeding. Apart from this, if you have the ultrasound machine with you, which is having the color Doppler, So you can go for the color Doppler examination of this uterine artery. Yes, it requires more time for to understood the things, to learn the things, and accordingly. But if this is just, I wanted to share our information, share our findings with you people, so that one can plan accordingly in the future. So we have performed this ultrasound examination of this uterine artery to look at to the blood supply to the uterus during the different phases of this estrous cycle. But here, one thing, because when we come to the conclusion, when we completed this particularly examination in all the experimental animals, we come to know that yes, the Doppler parameters like this resistivity index, peak systolic velocity and diastolic velocity, pulsatility index. Okay, these are variable, but depending upon those parameters, we are not able to determine the optimum timing for this breeding. And in other words, we can say this Doppler parameter may not be very much useful for we to understand, to determine the proper timing, optimum timing to get the maximum conception rate. Rather, when we decide to just differentiate or classify the different waveforms of this uterine artery, what we could got during the different Doppler examinations. So here there are different types of the waves A, B, C, D, and O. Again, how to interpret the results is again different, but I will not go into detail. But here I wanted to know, yes, when the blood supply, when if somebody of you people may performing this Doppler examination routinely. So here, when the blood supply is discontinuous, and just in case of this uterine artery, it is there, discontinuous blood supply is there. So during each and every cardiac cycle, if the blood supply is discontinuous, so this Doppler parameter, whatever this resistivity index and pulsatility index or EDB, EIRI, okay, so these are may not be helpful for us to reach to the confirmative diagnosis of that optimum time or in that particular case. But rather, instead of going for that, if you look at to the type of the wave created during that particular cardiac cycle. So the scientists, they have classified this type A, type B, type C, type D, and type O. But I wanted to make you more attentive here to this type C type of wave. So that C type of wave, it gives a clear-cut idea where there is a complete wave, systolic peak, diastolic peak, complete diastolic blood flow is there, and it is continuous till next systole, peak systole. So here, this type of wave is there. That means it indicates ki more blood supply, profuse blood supply to that particular organ is there, and this is nearer to the ovulation. This type of wave we could get in the almost all the animals where the we could get the conception, and this was nearer to the ovulation. That this C type of wave we could get, which indicates ki blood supply is continuous and in maximum. And this again type D and type O, where again the blood supply is discontinuous, and in such cases we cannot say yes, this is the right time for this. So here, this again here in ovulation percentage, here where we could get the maximum ovulation. See this C type, yes, this is there in all the animals where we could get early stress, and but during ovulation, where we need a maximum blood supply to the ovary through this uterine artery, this may more than 80% we could get this C type of wave. So this wave type will help us to properly determine because yes, we have the other parameters like the vaginal smears, we have the progesterone assay, but we can just a new investigation or new parameter like this Doppler ultrasound of this uterine artery. So we can use that. And again, if we just compare this presence here, I wanted to again yes, this one, this conceived and non-conceived pitches, this nuclear superficial cell index here, if you will not find any significant difference in cornification index 96 and 85, even in even these two nucleated superficial cell. Okay, so this is very much interested. We can plan. Everybody can use this nuclear superficial percentage in vaginal sphere also. So, by sincere request to all, if while performing this vaginal sphere, along with this cornification index and cornification ratio, you please go with this, and you just check what we could found, whether it is correct or not. But most of the times we get the maximum results, and you can plan accordingly. You will get the success. So you can combinedly use this enucleated superficial cells as well as this progesterone assay for determination. So what is to be done if it is the situation? So what is to be done? So what we can suggest, if there is a one somebody can use the Doppler ultrasound examination effectively, so we can use the nuclear supercell percentage plus serum progesterone combination, in combination, both serum progesterone and ASC, a nuclear superficial cell, to determine this breeding time for maximum conception rate. If you wanted to get a maximum conception, so you can use this, or C-type waveform. If the conception, if you are expecting more and more maximum conception rate, so you can use the during this estrus. Along with that, if the beach is showing type C waveform of this color Doppler examination of ultrasound, so you can expect in such cases the maximum conception rate. Now, these are the things where we have breed the animal. We have optimum breeding time. We have decided. We have make the animal pregnant. But fourth aspect, if it is everything is fine, and but here what happens is that animals or that beach fails to carry the litter top to term, means complete the gestation. Okay, yes, we know, yes, there are different conditions or different etiological factors like this brucella, or this some uterine infections, or the uterine pathology, or hypoluteitism, means luteal deficiency, progesterone deficiency. Okay, so but sometimes what happens, just I wanted to share here ki, yes, most of the times we don't go every time we don't go for the investigation of this. So luteal deficiency, okay, see, most of the times if there is impending abortion, at that time, most of the times we used to investigate this progesterone concentration, and yes, of course, it is decreasing. So at that time only, it is not useful to estimate the progesterone when actually impending abortion is there. So we need, in such cases, we need to go for a serial progesterone concentration. Okay, and yes, sometimes many of the cases are reported, like specifically during this 40 to 50 days of this gestation. Okay, so this shows the signs and symptoms of parturition, but we can't say the parturition at this stage. We can say this is threatened abortion. So in this threatened abortion, again, we have to where these suspected pregnancies are there, or we can say the doubtful or the prestigious pregnancies are there. Okay, we have to monitor the pregnancy. So in again one of our departmental project, we plan to decide what there are certain parameters like the combined CTUP, combined thickness of this uterus and placenta, which generally we use in case of this equines. But our guide, our professors, yeah, started, and again we use this for use these parameters for monitoring this pregnancy, and combined thickness. So during this normal gestation as well as this threatened abortion, Okay, so when it ranges up to 1.19 centimeter, maximum 1.19 during 40 to 50 days of the gestation. But where the suspected threatened abortions were there, whatever the clinical cases are presented to us. Okay, in that case, we could find this combined thickness of uterus placenta, it was more than 1.2 centimeter. So this can be lead to the threatened abortion, and so such, if it is like this, then you have to monitor such type pregnancy or such CTUP cases very closely till the end of the gestation. And if your CTUP is again above 1.3, we come across such cases also. Okay, CTUP was more than 1.3. So even though we go for some of the traditional treatment, yes, of course, antibiotic therapy and the progesterone supplementation, we could not save the litter. But if it is near about 1.2, 1.2.8 or 1.27 like this, in such cases, if you go for supplementation of this progesterone, some antibiotic therapy, you can save the litters. Some of the so one or two cases we treat like this, one fetus was expelled, and accordingly we go for the treatment of such cases. We could able to save the fetus. Apart from this, again, can we use this color Doppler examination or color Doppler ultrasound examination of these maternal vessels? So this maternal vessel specifically, it includes only uteroplacental vessels and umbilical vessels. So we evaluate this blood circulation through the uteroplacental vessels and umbilical vessels during specifically where during the normal gestation, as well as during the threatened abortion cases. And yes, it gives us very good results regarding these different velocity parameters, Doppler parameters of these arteries. So we evaluate this uteroplacental vessels during 40 to 50 and again 50 to 60 days of this gestation. We also evaluated these umbilical vessels during 40 to 50 and 50 to 60 days of the gestation. So during this different evaluation of these maternal vessels, okay, yes, of course, evaluation while performing this color Doppler examination, specifically I would like to mention here the uteroplacental vessels. They are very much small and tiny. Okay, so we need to it is very difficult to get the waveform in this. Otherwise, in case of this umbilical vessels, and also we tried for this fetal aorta, it is somewhat easy. Okay, and also there is change in the patterns of the waves depending upon the waves days or the stage of the gestation. So we evaluate this in normal as well as in threatened abortion cases, and we come to conclusion ki yes, we study the different velocity parameter, Doppler parameters like systolic peak velocity and diastolic velocity, progestativity index, then pulsatility index. Okay, so specifically during for this uteroplacental vessels, we plan for to can we suggest for a clinician a cutoff value for this pregnancy monitoring? And if you particularly during 40 to 50 days of the gestation, where the chances or the incidence of this threatened abortion is high, in such cases you have to check the end diastolic velocity of this uteroplacental arteries. And if it is above 11.7, this is cutoff value. This is cutoff value for this EDV. If it is high, it is more than that. Okay, because we have screened more than near about 40 canines, and in that we have just different observations for different stages, particularly during 40 to 50 and for 50 to 60 days of the gestation. So here this 11.77 centimeter per second. So if it is so, then in such cases you can think yes, this pregnancy can be normal. But if it is less than 10 centimeter per second end diastolic velocity, if it is less than that, you can think of the threatened abortion. And in such cases, you should monitor those pregnancies very carefully. This was all about this EDV, but again for resistivity index, this is very important things. If again during 40 to 50 days, if this Ri means resistivity index of this artery is below 0.559, if the EDV is measurable, because see, if the EDV is not measurable, this diastolic peak is not there, always that resistivity index comes to 1. Okay, so below, before day 41 we could get above, after 41 the second diastolic peak in the uteroplacental vessels. Okay, this is change in the wave pattern, which gives the, yes, there is maturation of this heart and blood supply to us is in proper manner. So this RI resistivity index is, if it is below 0.5, means blood supply to that particular fetuses or conceptus are maximum, because if the gestation age is increasing, RI is decreasing. It is opposite to each other, and it is, yes, it is for purpose yes, there if the resistivity index is decreasing, more blood supply to the fetuses or the conceptus for as per the stage of this gestation. So this, if it is below that, then such type of pregnancy can be normal. That means more and more blood supply is there. But if it is above 0.63, this is the difference between this. This is the cutoff value. If you perform this Doppler parameter of this uteroplacental vessels, and you come to know that during 40 to 50 days of gestation, any of this average, you can 43, 44. Okay, generally after 42 days, this EDV is measurable. So when it is above 6.63, so again the blood supply resistivity index is increasing. That means resistance to blood flow to the conceptus is increasing. So here you can think of, yes, the chances of threatened abortions are there, and such cases again you should monitor very carefully in that case. So this was somewhat the new concepts, particularly in monitoring these threatened abortions. And again, this was one of, not one of, it was my PhD project, threatened abortion, color Doppler evaluation, and also we have published a good research paper in Irish Veterinary Journal recently. Among that is maternal vessels in normal gestation and threatened abortion. So this was all about whatever the canine fertility and infertility is there. Hope you all understood the things, or what I wanted to convey you, whatever the information is with me, I just tried to give it to you all. So once again, I would like to thank Honorable Vice Chancellor, Navsari Agriculture University, Dean and Directors, and also the organizer of this webinar, Dr. Deepak Sutar, again, Dr. Lalit Modi. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
You are now unmuted.
Sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving a very nice and informative presentation. Thank you, sir. So let's start our question and answer session. I request to all the participants, please write down if you have any query or question in this chat box. So the first question from Dr. NF Chaudhary: what is the best time to breed the female dog? It is only in such a way, for suggestion, it is to be suggested to the owner in a simple language.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Owner in the simple language, yes, it is. But generally, when we talk about this average cycle, okay, so that was 9, 11, and 13. Okay, if the cycle is regular, proestrus is average of 9 days. Okay, if the situation is like this, okay, so in that case, you can ask the owner to, if there is presence of this sanguineous or yellow color discharge, some spongy appearance, or you can just ask him to palpate this vaginal vulva. Okay, and accordingly you can plan for the mating. But if the proestrus duration of this phases is longer, If it more than 9 days, till 12, 13, 14, or some beaches, just I said ki yes, there are certain beaches which bleeds throughout the proestrus and estrus. Okay, so in onus, yes, this is and if the natural bleeding is to be performed, just we always suggest ki when she is accepting the male. Okay, if she is accepting the male, allow her to bleed. Okay, but if everything it is in the normal, if the abnormalities are there, you have to depend upon the cytological and progesterone assay.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Got them.
Sir, one question from my side. There is a lots of variation in estrous cycle of the beach is nowadays observed. Apart from this, there is a increase the length of proestrus days. Sir. There is a different proestrus days in different species, different animals in same species also. So, what could be the reason behind this?
Generally, see, if we look at to the canine endocrinology, okay, no, still yet till date, it is not clearly understood. Okay, but if you come across some such incidences like persistence proestrus, means proestrus is greater than 6 weeks or more than that. Okay, first, if for that you need to first think you go for the cytological examination whether it is actually proestrus. Just I said just depending upon the external symptoms or just look at to the blood, we cannot say the animal is in the proestrus. There are certain some beaches that can bleed throughout the proestrus and estrus, but sometimes here this may come across when we come if this is the situation, previous exogenous estrogen administration is there, and if this administration, particularly in case of this young beaches, or sometimes that is previous history of this hormonal therapy, if it is there, in such cases you can observe this prolonged proestrus, and also yes, like this other species follicular cyst, yes, it is also there. Some in case of some cancerous growth or ovarian tumors, or here you can see the prolonged proestrus or the estrus patches. So you need to rule out the case accordingly.
Thank you very much, sir. One of the question from Raju Sailor, Dr. Raju Sailor. He want to know from the Facebook link, what's treatment protocol for threatened abortion in canine?
Generally, what we use traditional protocol for some of the, if you come across this threatened abortion, just what we have performed, yes, you can go for the progesterone supplementation, and you can go for the antibiotic therapy if it is the case of placentitis.
Okay, thank you,
Progesterone
sir.
supplementation, yes.
One more question regarding the progesterone. From Dr. Aditi. If progesterone is low, what injection or any antibody to be used?
Antibody? Progesterone is low, means during this distress phase, particularly where we need a maximum or increasing concentration of this progesterone. There are two ways you can exogenously supply this progesterone, or you can increase it endogenously by strengthening this corpus luteum, just by giving the LH.
Yes.
Or directly you can give the progesterone.
Yes. Thank you, sir. One more question from Dr. Aditi. Which antibiotic is safe during gestation if there is a bleed, and what is the duration?
If there is a bleed, cephalosporins or this third generation penicillin group you can use for that. But if at what stage of gestation you are giving those antibiotics, it is very important. But most probably or most frequently we can go for the cephalosporin groups. That is very safe.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Sir, there is a lots of comments from our from the Facebook links from
Okay,
the
sir.
our participants for you, sir.
Thank
It's
you, sir. Thank you.
they told that the very good and informative presentation given by you. So
Yes,
it
sir.
is
Thank.
for for you, sir. Uh,
Yes,
so
sir. Thanks to all.
okay. So at the end of the session, I would like to request Dr. Deepak Suthar, Organizing Secretary of this WET and webinar series, for what of thanks. Dr. Deepak, please.
Hello, sir.
Sir.
Uh, Very nice presentation, sir.
Thank you,
Uh,
sir. Thank you.
First, thanks to all the participants who joined with us, because without your support, this series is nothing. So once again, heartily thanks to all the participants. Sir, heartily thanks to you. Within the short period, you accept our invitations and prepare very nice presentation. Really, very nice presentations and very
Thank you, sir.
informative to the field veterinarians and field
Thank you, sir.
private practitioner. So really very nice presentation and very detailed explain about this infertility in canines, the biggest issues.
Thank
Also, I am thankful to the authority of the Bombay Veterinary College give the permission to you deliver this webinar lectures. So once again, sir, thanks. Really, NI authority is thankful to you. I'm also thankful to all the participants join with us. So next Sunday we will meet with the one new speaker with the new topics. Till then, namaskar, goodbye. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, thanks for the opportunity once again. Very much thank you, and it's my pleasure.
Yes.
So, yes, sir. Modi ji, thank you.
Modi ji, please.
मोदी जी गायब हो गए.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Sutar
sir.
sir, thank you.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir. So now end of the meeting. Thank you, sir.
yes. Thank you.